President, may I take the floor?
Yes, I distinguished colleague from
I
Cavite.
just want to inform the body, hindi po tayo nagpapahawa dito, This is just a mere parang consideration. I don't mind for humanitarian reason. Uh, I don't mind. My Ako so far in the past two Congress, perfect attendance ang inyong lingkod. Never been late, never been absent. Sino ba namang gustong umabsent dito? That's why I want to be online. During our last session, I attended. I tried. Pero namagayong pa
Ni majority.
So it's okay, Mr. President. Kahit mabulok yung paa dito, no problem. Para sa bayan. Mr. President, may I take the
Yes.
floor?
Yes, I distinguished colleague from
I
Cavite.
just
is
want to
recognized.
let you, to inform the body, hindi po tayo nagpapahawa dito, This is just a mere parang consideration. I don't mind for humanitarian reason. I don't mind. Ako so far in the past two Congress, perfect attendance ang inyong lingkod. Never been late, never been absent. Sino ba namang gustong umabsent dito? That's why I want to be online. During our last session, I attended. I tried. Pero namagayong pa
Ni majority.
So it's okay, Mr. President. Kahit na mabulok yung paa dito, no problem. Para sa bayan.
You know, Senator Soto,
Bastusan na tayo dito Nire-respeto kita.
don't do that to yourself. Are you in coma? You're not in coma.
At the risk of
You know, Senator Soto, hindi
Bastusan na tayo dito.
I've been looking diagonally to my left for the last several days. Our great province of Cavite, Mr. President. May I know the exact rule, Mr. President, concerning a colleague, concerning a member of this chamber with medical devices, apparatus, and apparently under rehabilitation, Mr. President? Is he really required to be physically present during hearings? I'm referring, Mr. President, to the Honorable Senator Ramon Bong Revilla. Lagi ko po nakikita rito na may dala, kulang na lang po, wheelchair.
Mr. President. Well, with due respect to contagious diseases, COVID, TB, pwede yan online. Fair about it. He did join us last Wednesday. So I leave it now to the majority leader to make the proposition.
Yeah, Mr. President, just to put on record,
Mr. President, may I take the
Yes.
floor?
Yes, our distinguished colleague from
I
Cavite.
just
is
want to
recognized.
let you, to inform the body, hindi po tayo nagpapaawa dito, This is just a mere parang consideration. I don't mind for humanitarian reason. I don't mind. Ako so far in the past two Congress, perfect attendance ang inyong lingkod. never been late, never been absent. Sino ba namang gustong umabsent dito? That's why I want to be online. During our last session, I attended. I tried. Pero namaga yung paa eh.
Alam ni majority.
So it's okay, Mr. President. Kahit na mabulok yung paa dito, no problem. Para sa bayan.
You know, under Senator Soto, hindi
Huwag
ganun.
ka pare. Bastusan na tayo dito eh. Nire-respeto kita.
Don't do that to yourself. Are you in coma? You're not in a coma.
The risk of
It's not that. You know, under Senator Soto, hindi
Huwag ka
ganun.
pare. Bastusan na tayo dito eh. Nire-respeto kita.
I've been looking diagonally to my left for the last several days. A colleague of ours, coming from our great province of Cavite, Mr. President. May I know the exact rule, Mr. President, concerning a colleague, concerning a member of this chamber with medical devices, apparatus, and apparently under rehabilitation, Mr. President? Is he really required to be physically present during hearings? I'm referring, Mr. President, to the Honorable Senator Ramon Bong Revilla. Lagi ko po nakikita rito na may dala, kulang na lang po wheelchair, Mr. President.
Well, with due respect to our distinguished colleague, the rules is very explicit. We only amended the rules for online sessions for COVID infected individuals or those that have contagious diseases, COVID, TB, Ebola. You know, pagkaganyan, pwede yan online or is bedridden. Were lax, but the rules is very specific. It is only for contagious diseases. But due to humanitarian reasons, because he had his operation last week that he could not stand up, we allowed it. However, he attended a political party rally in Manila Polo Club, was seen by everybody standing beside our president, and therefore he seems fit to be able to join us. And he joined us last Wednesday, to be very fair about it. He did join us last Wednesday. So I leave it now to the majority leader to make the proposition.
Yeah, Mr. President, just to put on record, if
Mr. President, may I take the
Yes.
floor?
Yes, our distinguished colleague from
I
Cavite.
just
is
want to
recognized.
let you, to inform the body, no? Hindi po tayo nagpapaawa dito, no? This is just a mere parang consideration. Ako, I don't mind for humanitarian reason. I mean, ako, I don't mind. Ako so far, in the past two Congress, perfect attendance ang inyong lingkod. Never been late, never been absent. Sino ba namang gustong umabsent dito? That's why I want to be online. During our last session, I attended. I tried. Pero namaga yung paa eh.
Alam ni majority.
So it's okay, Mr. President. Kahit na mabulok yung paa dito, no problem. Para sa bayan.
Yeah, just a reminder, Your Honor, no? I've had a perfect attendance since 1998. I have not been absent from session since 1998. For the record, I must have the longest record of appearance in the legislature. When times I'm sick, times I don't feel good, times I'm also bugbog sa trabaho, but I try to make it a point to be here to show our commitment. But the rules is very clear, and I leave it back to our chairman of the Committee on Rules to make the motion or the manifestation so that we are clear with the rules. You know, under Senator Soto, hindi
Huwag ka
ganun.
pare. Bastusan na tayo dito eh. Nire-respeto kita.
Don't do that to yourself. Are you in coma? You're not in a coma.
at the risk of
It's not that. No, under Senator Soto, hindi
Huwag ka
ganun.
pare. Bastusan na tayo dito eh. Nire-respeto kita.
Last bastion of democracy. In January, we fought against the dreaded People's Initiative, which would have destroyed this very institution I'm standing here right now. God knows what I had to do to defend the Senate. Throughout all this, I could count on each and every one of our colleagues, both from the majority and the minority, whose wisdom and cooperation helped shape the identity of the Senate for this post-pandemic age. But I want to thank my leadership team and those who stayed beside me till the very end. Ma'am Lauren, my Senate President Pro Tem, thank you very much for your loyalty and wisdom. I know many times temptations have been called to you, but you've been steadfast. Maraming salamat, ma'am. True test of character. Maraming salamat. To my dear Majority Floor Leader, pare, thank you for your hard work and dedication. Isa ka sa pinakamasipag nating Majority Floor Leader. Pare, thank you for your friendship till the very end. I love you. You know that. Mahal kita. I will always cherish your support. To Sunny, possibly the best finance chair this institution has ever had, I thank you, sir. I thank you. You know, your father was like a father to me. And I'm happy to call you my brother, sir. Senator JV, what can I say? Your loyalty, your friendship and hard work, which you helped steer many important measures in this institution. Sir, I'm proud to call you my friend. Nancy, who's been loyal from day one as a friend, never waving. Thank you, my dear. I love you dearly and your family. Sherwin, my kumpadre. Pare, maraming salamat, pare. You are a good friend and kumpadre. I'm proud that you're the ninong of my son. To Bato de la Rosa, who stuck it out to me till the very end. Sir, I salute you, sir. To the others, my dear friends, my heart is broken. I am proud to have led a Senate that's been resolute in protecting our institution, our democracy, and our people. Being an independent leader, I gave way for each member of the Senate also to be independent and to come to decisions through collaboration rather than direction. I have never dictated my position on any of you, you know that. I've always supported your independence, which is probably why I face my demise today. I failed to follow instructions from the powers that be. Simple as that. I've listened to all my colleagues throughout my Senate presidency, and again I listen to them today. As we head into a new period for the Senate, I fought the good fight. If I've ruffled some feathers in doing so, then so be it. Hindi ko tinanggap ang pagiging Pangulo ng Senado para lang hayaan na bumagsak ito. Today, I offer my resignation as Senate President of the Republic of the Philippines. And upon stepping down, I vow to serve as an independent member of the Senate. My allegiance as ever belonging only to the Filipino people. I leave with my head held high, knowing that I did what is right for the Senate and for the nation. I wish our new leadership the very best, and I pray that they will be steadfast in upholding the independence of this beloved institution. I will remain vigilant to make sure that the traditions and the rules of the Senate will remain steadfast. Once again, maraming salamat po. Mabuhay ang Senado, mabuhay ang Republika ng Pilipinas.
Thank you very much, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, for your heartfelt speech. We are grateful for your service to the institution. Thank you for your service to the nation. Thank you for a job well done, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri. Session is suspended.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, as the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Migrant Workers and the chairperson of the Senate panel, I have the honor to present the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2221 entitled An Act Providing for the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers, and House Bill number 7325 entitled An Act Instituting the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers. The Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of the Senate Bill number 2221 and House Bill number 7325 of December 13, 2023, in effect, is hereby withdrawn. The Senate and the House panels met last May 20, 2024, to discuss and come up with a reconciled and improved version of the reconsidered bill, which was referred to both houses for further review. Mr. President, I would like to thank our fellow conferees from the Senate, Senate President Jesus Cordero himself, who was still a conferee when this BICAM report was adopted and prior to his election. Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Amy Marcos, Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, and Deputy Minority Floor Leader Riza Ontiveros, and our conferees from the House of Representatives, led by the new chairperson of the House Committee on Overseas Workers Affairs, Representative Jude Asidre, together with Representatives Marisa Del Mar Magsino, Sandro Gonzalez, Kaimer Adan Olaso, and Marlene Primicias Agabas as members of their collaborative effort and patience in order to come up with this bicameral report. Thus, it is my honor to report to this body, Mr. President, the following. Number one, the conferees agreed to adopt the reconsidered bill on the matter as the working draft, with the primary goal of addressing concerns regarding coverage of the bill. Number two, Section 3, objectives was created. Number three, Section 4, coverage was amended to focus on Filipino seafarers on board ships, vessels plying international waters, added a provision to address the concerns of international ships governed by a specific agreement, which reads as follows. For ships or vessels plying international waters but are governed by international treaties or agreements, the same shall be observed, and the pertinent agencies shall exercise regulatory provisions over the seafarers on board, subject to appropriate guidelines and conditions that may be issued by the Department of Transportation, Marina, DMW, DOLE, and other concerned agencies. Number four, a new Section 5, applicability of this act to domestic seafarers, was created to clarify which sectors are applicable to only to domestic seafarers. Number five, Section 6, definition of terms. New terms were defined. A, domestic maritime degree. B, international maritime degree. C, letterization. D, seafarer, and excluded cadets in the definition. While the term employment contract was deleted, 6 on Section 7, right to just terms and conditions of work, clarified medical care for domestic and overseas seafarers. Number 7, on Section 9, right to educational advancement and training at reasonable and affordable cost, placed Marina ahead of CHED and NMP in development of GOD curriculum. Number 8, on Section 11, right to information of a seafarer's family or next of kin, clarified role of DMW and DOLE over overseas and domestic seafarers, respectively. Number 9, on Section 12, right to safe passage and safe travel, change third countries to other countries. Number 10, Section 22, right to a fair medical assessment. 28, pre-employment medical examination, PEME, and 29, medical certificate, clarified medical needs of overseas and domestic seafarers. Number 11, on Section 30, training and qualifications, clarified the required training and qualifications for overseas and domestic seafarers upon the recommendation of Marina DOTR. Number 12, overseas seafarers and the titles of the following chapters. Chapter 6, manning agencies for overseas seafarers. Chapter 9, medical care and maritime occupational safety and health standards for overseas seafarers. Chapter 10, termination of employment of overseas seafarers. Chapter 11, dispute resolution for overseas seafarers. Chapter 12, repatriation for overseas seafarers. Chapter 13, reintegration for overseas seafarers. 13, on Chapter 8, accommodation, recreational and sanitation facilities, food and catering in ocean-going ships. That title was amended to clarify its application to ocean-going ships. 14, we removed all sections related to domestic Filipino seafarers except the section on rescue and converted it into a separate chapter, which now reads Chapter 14, emergency rescue of domestic seafarers. 15, on Chapter 17, green lane for overseas and domestic seafarers. We rewarded a title and revised the language. 16, under Chapter 18, education and training of seafarers and cadets. The jurisdiction of Marina over maritime education was clarified and roles itemized. And the section on curriculum committee was deleted. Number 17, on section 57, a second paragraph was amended and a new third paragraph was added as proposed by the House panel and adopted by the Bicameral Conference Committee to read as follows. The third doctor's assessment shall strictly adhere to the schedule of disabilities as provided in the standard employment contract or the applicable collective bargaining agreement as warranted. The title of the section was also amended to read Determination of Disability, Grading, or Fitness to Work. 18. The section 59 of the recalled bill was deleted as approved and adopted by the Bicameral Conference Committee. 19. Section 16, or section 17, rather, crew competence was amended to add marina. 20. On section 28, compliance and certification amended to clarify the issuance of a maritime labor certificate and the certificate of compliance for domestic ships by DOLE. 21. On section 69, inspection and enforcement amended to distinguish inspection and enforcement of ships under 3 different categories to clarify. 22, created a new section 74, jurisdiction over maritime education, to clarify the jurisdiction of marine and chet with respect to the education and training of cadets. Succeeding sections 75 and 76 were likewise adjusted to reflect changes made on section 74. 23, section 77, requirements for maritime higher education institutions, amended by removing the percentage requirements for training slots. The same was made on section 78 for Philippine registered ships. 24, on section 85, role of government agencies, the roles of CHED, DFA, DMW, DOH, DOLE, Marina, and NLRC were adjusted in line with changes introduced in the entire bill. 25, on section 85, G, National Conciliation and Mediation Board was added as another concerned agencies with specific role. 26, section 85J, role of OWA was amended to include giving of free legal assistance to its member seafarers. Number 27, a new section 94, creating offices and hiring appropriate personnel was created for Marina and other concerned agencies to ensure the effective implementation of these acts. Mr. President, allow me to emphasize again that this Magna Carta of Seafarers is not the final law that we will work on to protect our seafarers. We commit to addressing concerns regarding the efficacy of the Seafarers Protection Act and to review and amend the necessary provisions of the Labor Code. Especially on the rules of procedure for both NLRC and NCMB, such that appeals and judgment in maritime cases shall be more attuned to the pressing concerns of our seafarers and maritime stakeholders. Mr. President, I move that we approve the Bicameral Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill number 2221 and House Bill number 7325 on an act providing for Magna Carta of Seafarers. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Senator Villanueva is recognized.
This is not an objection, Mr. President. May I just be allowed to make a very short manifestation, Mr.
The
President?
gentleman may proceed.
Thank you very much being part of this measure where we, all of us work very, very hard. Isang malaking karangalan po, Ginoong Pangulo, para sa atin na maging parte din ng Bicameral Conference Committee ng panukalang ito, ang Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers. Isang batas po na para sa proteksyon ng ating mahigit kumulang na 580,000 na marino sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Sa po, Ginoong Pangulo, ay magkakaroon na ng isang tunay na Magna Carta para sa ating mga marino matapos ang halos 2 dekadang pakikipaglaban po dito. Tayo sa ating Senator Rafi Tulfo, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Migrant Workers, dahil karamihan po sa ating mga tulong at ipinanukala na mga probisyon ay nanatiling nakapaloob sa BICAM report ng Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers. Just to put on record, Mr. President, kasama dito yung pag-align ng mga probisyon ng Magna Carta sa Republic Act number 11641, Department of Migrant Workers Act, pagpapatibay ng maritime safety and standards, paglalatag ng green lane protocols, pagkakaroon ng transition at support programs para sa mga marino na hindi pa muli nakakasampa sa barko, at pagpapalawak po sa lambong ng proteksyon sa ating mga seafarers na sadyang exposed po sa abuso, exploitation at unfair labor practice. Mr. President, I just want to put on record, and I'm very happy to join the gentleman from Isabela and in reporting to the body that we emphasize that the Commission on Higher Education maintains jurisdiction over maritime higher education institutions, which is consistent po, Mr. President, with Section 3, letter D of the Magna Carta of Filipino Seafarers, which refers to CHED's policies and rules on education of maritime students and training cadets. And furthermore, Mr. President, last but not the least, yung Marina's administration over maritime education should be interpreted in conjunction with the mandate of the CHED pursuant to RA 7722 or the Higher Education Act of 1994. Mr. President, sa pangkalahatan, ang panukala pong ito ay isang katibayan ng ating pagpapahalaga sa ating mga marino. Ito po ay pagpapatunay sa ating dedikasyon na itaas ang dignidad at antas ng pamumuhay ng ating overseas at domestic seafarers, ang ating mga bagong bayani. Kaya, Mr. President, sinasamahan ko po ang motion ng ating kasamahan para iratipika ang nasabing panukala. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo.
The remarks of the gentleman from Bulacan are duly noted and well taken.
Mr. President, the Deputy Minority Leader is seeking the floor.
Mr. President, may I also move that the joint explanation of the conference committee be inserted into the records of the Senate?
The chair will defer action on the motion until we have heard Senator Ontiveros, and thereafter we will act on the same. Senator Ontiveros is recognized. You may proceed, ma'am.
Salamat, Mr. President, at magandang gabi po. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you and to say thank you and to give credit where credit is due. Unang-una, salamat kay Chair Rafi Tulfo sa kanyang paninindigan at pagsisikap para maayos ang ilang issues tungkol sa bond. Alam ko sa puso niya, tulad ko, dapat ang Magna Carta of Seafarers should serve the interest of all Filipino seafarers. Salamat din sa aking minority leader, Senator Coco Pimentel, sa pagsuporta at sa sa kanyang walang sawang suporta sa mga issues ng mga manggagawa, partikular sa mga marino. Kay Comsec Alan at sa mga masisipag nating mga legis staff sa kanilang ambag at sakripisyo para Magna Carta of Seafarers is very close to my heart. Sa every Filipino seafarer. Greater protection from abuses and violations of their rights and welfare. This law is for every overseas Filipino worker, seafarer, who has been called a modern-day hero because of his or her economic contributions through remittances, and most importantly, because of their sacrifices, being homesick to give a comfortable life to their loved ones. Narinig namin kayo, mga kababayan. Hindi sapat na manatili lamang silang mga buhay na bayani habang sila ay nakikipagsapalaran at nagbabanat ng buto sa karagatan na walang sapat na batas na magtataguyod ng kanilang mga karapatan at proteksyon. At sa wakas, ngayon ay magiging isang ganap na batas na. The Magna Carta should be the anchor of every Filipino. No one should be left behind, including cadets. Every Filipino seafarer's rights should be protected in accordance with international labor organizations, Maritime Labor Convention, and most especially with the Philippine sa ating mga Filipino seafarers. Kayo po talaga ang bida dito, higit sa lahat. Mabuhay ang bawat overseas Filipino worker, mabuhay ang bawat marinong Filipino. Saludo ako sa inyong pagsisikap. Patuloy kaming susuporta sa inyong kapakanan at seguridad kasama ng inyong pamilya. Maraming pong salamat, Mr. President.
Chair thanks the distinguished lady, and her remarks are duly noted and well taken. Now, acting on the previous motions,
Yes, Mr. President.
majority leader is recognized.
Corollary to the motion of Senator Tulfo. Mr. President, our colleague, the gentleman from Nueva Ecija, the Honorable Senator Robin Hood Padilla, is seeking the floor to deliver a manifestation, Mr. President. May he be recognized.
Senator Padilla is recognized. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa ating pong pinunong mayurya. Ito po ay point of inquiry lamang. Meron lamang po akong sanang gustong idulog sa kapulungan upang mabigyan po ng kaliwanagan. Ito po ay bunsod ng mga resolusyon na inihain ng inyong public information and meron po akong serye ng mga resolusyon na nagmumungkahi po ng mga pagdinig patungkol sa mga mahalagang issue na sa aking paniniwala ay dapat nagkakaroon ng malawakang talakayan at information dissemination para sa ating mga kababayan. Ngunit sa kasamaang palad po, hindi po ito nare-refer sa public information and mass media. O di kaya ay nagiging secondary committee lamang po ang sa amin. Hayaan po ninyong basahin ko ang Section 28, Rule 10 ng Rules of the Senate. Ito po ang jurisdiksyon ng committee.